So before we start soap making, you must be well protected. Your safety eye goggles, your gloves, and something to protect your clothing. I have all my oils measured out. This is my water, this is my soda. Now the first step, I'll add my oils together. We are not heating, so I'm going to add my oils together and mix them well. We're doing room temperature soaping, so we don't need to take temperatures. I'll explain this later. We mix the oil well. And then we add the soda to the water. You never add water to the soda, you always add soda to the water. So I'm adding my soda to the water. And I mix to dissolve. You don't want to inhale the fumes, so you stay away from the fumes. We're doing a small batch here, so the fumes are not much. But if you're doing a bigger batch, the fumes could be quite dangerous. We're going to use the heat from the lye water to melt our oils. If you were not doing cold room temperature soaping, you would have waited for the lye and the oils to be at the same temperature. Usually you soap at between 90 degrees and 110 degrees Fahrenheit. But for today, we are soaping at room temperature using the lye heat from the lye water. Once the lye water is clear, then we know the lye has dissolved completely. It's not clear yet, so it hasn't dissolved enough. We're waiting for the lye water to become clear. The lye water is clear now, so we're going to go ahead and pour it into our oils. Be careful not to splash this because lye is dangerous. Mix it into our oils. This process is going to be very slow because we are not using the stick blender. The stick blender will do this job in 3 minutes. But just so that you know that you can soap without a stick blender, I'm doing this method. And we keep mixing. We keep mixing until the mixture thickens and we can find a trace. Because we are using the lye water to melt our oils, at this point I will put my super fat, which is supposed to go in at trace. But because there's no heating in this method, I've added my super fat at this point so that it can all dissolve. For my oils, I use coconut oil. olive oil, and shea butter. We are doing a non-scented soap today, so I'm not adding any essential oils. Once we get to trace, I'll pour it into my molds. You can either use this mixing spatula or use a wooden spoon to mix. I'm using a spatula. Yeah, we're getting it all straight now. If you look at it, when we put you can see it thinly. I don't know whether you can see, but there's a mark. I don't know whether you can see it well. You can see the trace of it in the soap. But we haven't reached thick. At this point, if you wanted to add any skin loving ingredients, this is where we should have added a shea butter, or you can add your botanicals like moringa powder, camwood, turmeric, any of the botanicals which you want for your soap. Every soap must have a purpose. What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to address? It could be insect repellents, where you use neem oil or neem leaf powder. It could be skin blemishes, where you use moringa powder. It could be skin lightening, where you use turmeric or powder. Anything you want to add, you can add at this stage. We're still going to wait until we get to a medium trace before we pour. Trace is very important because if you don't get to trace and you pour, your oils might separate. Therefore, you have to make sure that you have actually reached trace. And once you're getting to trace, you see a color change in your soap. It's thicker and the color gets creamier. I'm still going to wait a bit. This is a fragrance-free soap, so I'm not adding any essential oils. But if I were to add, it would be at this point. And my grandson wants something gold, so I'm going to add a little bit of gold pigment to part of the soap. My granddaughter wanted red, but I couldn't get my red coloring here, so we'll just do with the gold. What did I say? Wait. What did I say? What I said. Soaping without a stick blender, the hand mixer, it's a very slow process, very slow, too slow. This is even a small batch. If we were doing a bigger batch, we would not have gotten here yet. So I advise everybody to get a stick blender if you want to soak fast. I don't know if the camera can come closer so you see the trace. You can see the mark. You can see the evidence on the rest of the soap. So we have rich trace. This is medium trace. I hope it's obvious. And this is hot. That's 109 Fahrenheit. If I change it to Celsius, that's 42. So it is hot. We have to be careful. I'm now going to pour my soap into my molds. Your mold should be ready before you start soaping. That way there's no delay in pouring out your mold. That's it. This is for my grandson, and well, my granddaughter will have to manage it. This is gold mica. Mica is natural. It's a natural mineral. So we try to do everything, use everything natural as possible. I think my gold is not enough. Oh, I added some oil to the gold, so I will not have lumps. I think I'm going to add some more gold. It's best to mix your coloring in some of the oil, and some oil or some of the soap before you put it in. That way you don't have lumps. We'll see how this turns out tomorrow. You tap. So there are no air bubbles. I need to decorate my gold. This is just for shimmer. Just so we have some shimmer on the soap. Even for those that didn't have the mica put in them, you can also just decorate it. It's all about imagination and creativity. So we'll leave our soap till tomorrow. We cover it slightly with a cling film. Can I have the cling film, please? If we had a towel here, I would have covered it with a towel to keep the heat in there. But I don't have a towel here, so we just leave it here till tomorrow, and then we'll mold tomorrow. Thank you.